Hey everybody, welcome to a special mini episode of Dude's Brunch. We're here to celebrate the start of Tyler's favorite month. It's
Rocktober. Oh, no.
not Rocktober, but close. It's Misfits Appreciation Month. Tyler, what did you have for breakfast today? Was it skulls? I'm betting it was skulls.
I wish it was skulls. Fuck yeah, that would have been sweet. Uh, no, unfortunately. I had a pecan pastry and some black iced coffee. On my way.
It's like the smooth jazz of breakfast.
That's right. I was on my way to see a showing of The Iron Giant at Newport Theater. Which, if you didn't know, The Iron Giant was a movie that came out several years ago.
Several years ago, we were like 15.
Right. It was a special showing.
Sean, what super metal thing did you have for brunch today?
I had 2 eggs
Nope.
with bacon bits inside the eggs on toast.
Huh.
I
An
thought we were gonna have a
interesting
special
choice.
guest today, so I knew I wanted to have something that was nice. I didn't look like a pansy. Like, what'd you have for breakfast? I don't know. I'm a lazy piece of crap, so I just had coffee.
Well,
That's right.
here you are, showing both of us up.
What did you
Because
have?
I had...
Skulls?
No, not skulls. I had a bowl of cereal and I
What kind of
think
cereal?
a Pop-Tart. Golden Grahams. It was a pretty pathetic brunch. I'm not
Oh my
gonna lie.
god, I didn't even know they even made those anymore.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Wasn't the mascot for that like a rip-off of Yogi Bear or something?
I don't know. I don't remember them ever having a mascot, honestly.
Okay.
Golden Grams. Let's do a quick Google.
Because that's so related to the topic of tonight's episode.
It is.
Who cares?
After this, we're gonna have to do shameless plugs. It's a mini episode, so.
We took 2 weeks off
Yeah.
and the show is already in shambles.
Yeah, I think it's a bear. Let's see. Oh yeah, he's a. Oh
See,
wait,
I
no,
told you.
nope, it's Golden Crisp. I was thinking of a different bear.
Oh, okay.
Well, there you go, folks. You heard it here last. The
There's also
mascot for Golden
honeycomb.
Grahams is not a bear.
No,
All right.
no. I didn't say that it was not a bear. I'm saying that it's
Tyler,
still
why are we
possible.
here right now?
I
Which
don't
one is
know.
the cereal that tastes like coffee?
Honey Smacks?
Is that what it is?
I
Is
don't
it
know.
Smacks?
That's
I think it might be Smacks.
that's the cereal I specifically remember not liking ever. It's the one with the frog on it.
Yeah.
Wait,
I like those.
I think it's supposed to taste like coffee.
why is it shaped like a nut? Sweetened. It's like a peanut or like a. I don't understand. I don't understand.
I'm going back to India.
Okay.
You guys are the worst.
That's okay. That's fine. Go ahead, Taylor. Bye.
Thanks.
Kiss.
We're too busy figuring out about cereal stuff. Okay. No, it's
Tyler,
okay.
seriously,
All right.
though,
All right.
what are we doing here?
I don't know. We wanted to talk about the
We're
Misfits.
talking about the Misfits, right?
So tell the lovely people, who are the Misfits and why are we talking about them today?
Listen, you didn't tell me to have any sort of like monologue prepared for this.
Surprise.
The Misfits are historically one of the most significant punk bands of all time, being pioneers in the horror punk genre that is distinctly only them in that genre, but
I'm pretty
however,
sure there are other
it's-
bands in that genre. We just don't care about them because they're not the Misfits. Right?
well, okay, kind of like they just kind of start just like horror punk, and it just kind of like just branches off into all these different like names for the same thing. I'm still looking at Golden Grams. But most importantly, it was the starting point for the artist Danzig, or Glenn Danzig, who was their first frontman, who famously went on to form his own self-titled project, Danzig.
Oh, that's where the name comes from.
Yeah,
Mhm.
got him. But the rest of the members of the Misfits, which were also members of like various other punk bands, like a lot of them came from Black Flag specifically. They went on to make more albums. Then they had Michael Graves as an artist, or as the new vocalist, and then he did 2 albums, and then he left. And then Jerry Only, who was the guitarist, don't quote me on that. I think he might have been. He played a guitar-like instrument.
Yeah. He was
Jerry
a
Only
guitar
decided
in the beginning.
to then front the band, and so they produced an album in 2011, and they've been relatively quiet since then. They released like a live album a few years ago.
For the record,
So,
Jerry Only was the
they've had a-
bassist.
He was what?
He played bass.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's just a guitar with four strings instead of 6.
That's right.
Sure.
Well researched.
Idiot.
But I guess sort of their claim to fame is the double walk, in case you didn't know, which is basically a mohawk, except for that everything is pushed down into a point and then goes in front of your head, like this. And it looks really silly, but you know what? I'm not judging here. No judgment here. Judge-free zone at Dude's Brunch.
And so why do we listen to the Misfits in October, Tyler? For those who may not know.
Okay, you really hold my hand through this.
I'm trying. You said you didn't have a monologue
He's
prepared.
gonna
so I
drag
wanted to
you
help
through the whole show.
Ass.
All right, so the Misfits are a great Halloween band because they have such lovely song titles as Astro Zombies, I Turned Into a Martian, Die Die My Darling, Angel Fuck, From Hell They Came, many more. They're generally pretty campy and involve various sort of like B-movie horror themes. So of course they kind of tie in with Halloween being the time of monsters being summoned from hell and invading Earth, much like Rita from the Power Rangers.
Well, that was an analogy. So you gave us a sampling, which we'll put in the show notes, of Misfits across their whole career, which was interesting for me because I've mostly only paid attention to the early Danzig stuff. How did you pick those tracks? I'm curious.
Pseudo randomly. I kind of like flipped through a bunch of. Well, okay. Anything from Walk Among Us and then Static Age, I very specifically picked out because those are the albums I listened to the most, and so I knew the most about them, and that's why I kind of selected those. For American Psycho, Famous Monsters, Devil's Reign, and a little bit of Earth AD, I didn't really know as much, so I just kind of tried to listen to some of it, try to get a feel for like what songs I like. Also, I believe 2 of the songs on Spotify are like of the top plays of the Misfits. 2 of them were from Famous Monsters, so I just kind of slapped those on there. I listened to them. I was like, yep, those are good. Those are good songs. But yeah. I kind of wanted to have a nice range of like sort of all their sounds.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of also tried to pick songs that I personally also enjoyed. So there's some songs that are just across their discography that are just not enjoyable, if I'm honest, because they just get just a little too noisy at times.
Which ones? Just curious if I like these songs or not.
Consider fixing your camera, LOL.
Give us an example from like Static Age or Walk Among Us of a song that you're not a fan of. Don't want to put you on the spot like that, but I want to put you on the spot.
No, it's okay. I think I actually didn't really like Static Age or TD Casualty.
Really?
Yeah, deal with it. Yeah.
Holy crap, I like those.
Static!
Yeah, those are both great.
Static! We live in a digital age! Static! Static! It's just like, oh, come on.
I like those songs.
I like them too.
I don't think there's a
Alright,
bad
well-
song on Static Age, honestly.
All right. Well, I'm just saying. If I had to pick one, you're making me choose here.
Fine.
Best and worst.
Right.
Worst
Like
and
let's not get too excited here. If I had to find one I specifically didn't
Tell you what,
like.
I'll let you do that while I ask
Oh, I
Sean
don't
some
like
questions.
Mommy's Gonna Go Out and Kill Tonight. I don't like that. I don't like that one.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That song's kind of iffy.
Okay. That's basically how it goes. Sorry.
Tonight on Dude's Brunch, Tyler makes unintelligible noises while Sean and Taylor laugh at him.
Onomatopoeia. It's great.
Sean, what did you think of this playlist that Tyler lovingly assembled for us?
I thought it was good.
That's it?
John, it's good.
It was all right. No, it was good.
5 minutes later,
glad that-
I
I'm glad that
absolutely
you-
hate this playlist.
I'm glad that you tried to get in like every album. So, and you did it chronologically, right? You didn't do
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Apparently you can't order the songs. Like you can't like rearrange them in the web version, but you
Oh,
can
that's
on
right.
iPad.
Yeah, you have to have that app.
So I'm like, why?
Today was the first day that I logged into Spotify in like 4 months
Wow.
because my Apple Music expired yesterday.
I just started paying for mine yesterday.
That's another topic.
It is. So yeah, I thought this playlist was cool because it went in chronological order, and of course people will be able to hear it down in the thing.
Check it out.
The
thingy.
vocals like get cleaner as you go along. I noticed. Did anybody else notice that?
I think it just sounds more produced the more that it goes because it's just not like.
That was
I
going
don't
to be
know.
my question: was do you think
Static
it's the
Age is-
production or the delivery that the vocals shine through more?
I don't know. Probably
Well,
production.
both. I
Because
would say
Danzig
that
doesn't exactly
Michael.
have an easy voice to understand.
I think that's just the way he sings.
Well, I definitely selected the nicer tracks by Michael Graves. There's some pretty inaudible or unintelligible Michael Graves lyrics somewhere in there.
Some good Noble Mound stuff.
But he's just got when he's doing nice and melodic stuff. That's really when he's not like being super punk about it. That's really the Michael Graves vocal style I like the best.
Mhm.
Because like the Misfits have always been like a sort of like it's like a throwback to like sort of like that like rockabilly kind of sound, except there's also zombies. So like I'm gonna continue to like find that and like the punk, honestly the more punk side, like the more hardcore version of Misfits, I don't like as much. I just don't think it's as interesting.
So you almost like psychobilly in
Yeah.
that case, then.
Right.
Okay. Reverend Horton Heat, maybe?
I mean, I could.
Some psychobilly freakout? We'll link
Have
to
you actually
that
listened
below.
to? Have you listened to more than just that song?
Yeah, I
Reverend
saw
Horton
him.
Heat?
I saw him at
Wow.
Bunbury. It was so loud. So loud. But good. And psychobilly fans are ridiculous. They look exactly like you would expect them to look. Sean, what's your favorite kind of Misfits? Are you more melodic Misfits, more of the hardcore stuff?
Static Age is my favorite album, so whatever that one is. That's what I like. That's like the quintessential album.
Which
to
is
have
actually
for
just a
favorite
compilation
Misfits.
of like 5 EPs.
Right. I don't know. I just really like that one. I just think it's fantastic. So, to be honest, I really don't listen to new Misfits that much. I put Static Age on my iPod, and that's about what I hear all the time. So,
And if you're only going to have one, that's the right one to have.
I don't know.
But,
I just think that's like.
Was it you that, like, figured out you could get from your apartment to like class or your office or something by the time Static Age was over?
For 35 minutes, you can get a lot of places in that time.
Was that
I was gonna say, it's not that long.
No. Is it not that long? I don't
I
actually
feel like
know.
I might have been able to get from my apartment to my office and then back walking and
Maybe.
get through the whole album.
It's 17 songs, 35 minutes, and 2 seconds.
Because it's like really quick. Like literally by the time you're down the stairs, you're on to TV Casualty.
Yeah. The longest track on there is 5 minutes, and everything else is like 2 minutes, minute and a half.
Is it Hybrid Moments is the longest one on that one?
No. I
No,
think
it's
he just
Comeback.
said.
Oh yeah.
Hybrid Moments is a
Hybrid
minute
Moments.
42.
Yeah. If
That's
you
not actually-
okay, so for those of you guys who are listening to the show that haven't heard of Hybrid Moments, it was on a television. Oh no, it was on Tony Hawk's Skater video game
Jackass.
too, and Jackass too.
Is that how you guys found the Misfits?
Pretty much.
That song being in stuff?
I found
And
it
that's-
because lots of people wore their T-shirts without having ever listened to them before. That's how I figured out who the Misfits were.
When I was a boy, I spent a lot of time in Hot Topic looking at old shirts and
I specifically remember people that I was afraid of in high school wearing those shirts, and I was like, I don't want to listen to that band. They're probably scary.
The shirt is kind of scary if you don't know what it is.
Right, and then you're like, oh.
We'll link to
Never
that below
mind.
as well. I think the first Misfits song I heard was Teenagers from Mars. Yeah, which is just like a really kooky, weird song. It's not as aggressive as Hybrid Moments for sure.
yeah, I think you really have to read into the lyrics of Hybrid Moments.
Do you?
Yeah. No, well, not read into them. You have to read. I didn't really understand any of the lyrics of Hybrid Moments until I actually like read them. I looked them
Well,
up.
yeah, you have to see it written
Yeah,
out.
it's
But
like-
there's not much subtlety.
Because this is what you hear in the song. And you don't actually hear like.
Yeah, the vocal delivery on a couple of those tracks is just like even more mumbling.
Iconic and priceless. Back the fuck up, whatever you're gonna say, Taylor.
It is, but it's also super mumbly.
Haterade.
Come at me.
But
Actually,
I
don't.
think most
Glenn
of the
Danzig,
album,
please don't come at me.
or most of the songs in this album are actually kind of like that though. That's why I like it a little bit. Everything is one word. Every line is one word.
Can we
The whole
just talk
song is
about
one
how
word.
blatantly offensive everything Danzig writes is?
Yeah.
That was going to be one of my questions, is Misfits, even for a horror punk band, some of their lyrics are real dark. Like, real dark.
How do we
Does
feel
that-
about that?
Yeah, does that bother you guys?
Hey, did you guys watch Human Centipede?
No.
Tell me that okay. Tell me that there's not worse stuff out there that has a bigger media market than what the Misfits
I
did.
mean, just because there's
Oh, no,
worse
I'm
doesn't
not-
mean it's...
Right. But it's not... I would find it very hard to just put Misfits on at a party.
What kind of party do you go to?
Not the kind where I can play Last Caress. Let's put it that way.
Who listens to the
Why not?
lyrics at parties?
Yeah, who gives a fuck?
I guess. There are definitely times where...
Isn't that about petting your cat though?
Yeah.
Right?
Sure, yes. It's about petting your cat. There are definitely times where I'm listening to Misfits and I'm thinking, like, this is not exactly a great time to be listening to Misfits. It's a good thing I'm wearing earbuds right now.
Yeah, no. Every time to listen to Misfits is probably good to do it with headphones on.
Listen, we all know what they say, but...
We know what they say, but the rest of the world doesn't.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's good. They
That's
don't
why we
need to
have the
know.
explicit content label on our podcast.
So,
we haven't really
okay.
quoted any lyrics for as much as we've been talking about this band.
Attitude. You got some fucking attitude. I can't
Yeah.
believe what you say to me. You got some attitude. Inside your feeble brain, there's probably a whore. If you don't shut your mouth, you're gonna feel the floor. Attitude, the one you got, oh baby attitude. The one you got, oh baby attitude. Attitude.
Yes, no, the lyrics are absolutely horrible. Yes.
They really are.
So then why are we doing a special episode on them if they're so horrible?
Well, I mean, that's why I wanted to talk about it now, because I wanted to say, like, I don't know.
Why are they celebrated?
Well, I feel like they because they're kind of a story, right? I mean, that's kind of why I like them. I mean, I don't agree with their lyrics at all, but in the same way that you like would condone watching, you know, a movie that might not be as like politically incorrect as the Misfits, nobody would condone murdering people, but you'll still go see Mission Impossible and watch people die right in front of you all the time. You won't see blood, but
Yeah, and I think I don't know what the intentions are on some of these songs, but it definitely seems to have that kind of thing going where, like, everything they're talking about has been in movies forever. They're writing about, like, B horror movies. It's not like, you know, these are revolutionary, violent concepts. They're just presenting them in a way that it almost feels dirtier the way that they're doing it. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Because they're saying it fast over loud guitars as opposed to just, you know...
I don't know, writing a script and putting it on screen.
Yeah, and making people watch it. I think having it in your imagination rather than, like, seeing it on the screen makes some of the songs a lot more powerful. But then some of them, like, they're just lovably bad as well. Like, We Are 138. I love that song because it has, like,
So what you're
absolutely no purpose other than to yell We Are 138 over and over and over.
What were you gonna say, Tyler? What question were you gonna?
So what you're saying is that you don't think they mean it.
No, I think it's shtick.
I agree with Taylor.
Do you not think
Do
it's
you
shtick,
think they mean
Tyler?
it?
Do you think that Glenn Danzig really wants your skull?
Well, maybe not that one, but he talks about a lot about violence against women.
Well, that's because that's the horror genre.
Yeah.
Mm,
Have you never seen a horror movie?
I mean, not a lot, but
I do.
yes.
Go watch Night of the Living Dead. Just do that for me. Everybody who gets murdered. At least I remember watching it when we were in the Union. They had it on one night, and it was like the first two people that got murdered that I can remember was a blonde lady, and then the next guy was a black guy, and they both got eaten by zombies like immediately. And I was like,
Just
wow.
just so we're all aware, the We Are 138 apparently is about the Nuremberg trial.
I knew there was some sort of substance behind it, but on first listen, you're just like, hey, yelling numbers, I can do that. I think it has that, like, all of the songs have that punk accessibility to them where they're really simple, which makes them get caught in your ear, and then you're singing these, like, really terrible lyrics to yourself all day. Does anybody else have that happen?
I
Is that just me?
Well, does like do the other punk bands that you listen to not have like explicit lyrics, Tyler? Like, does Fugazi not have explicit lyrics? Does
I mean, I just think that. See, that's almost what I have a problem with, is that a lot of artists actually have some pretty, like, debatably, like some really, like, questionable lyrical content that I'm like, should I be listening to this? Does this support what I think? I don't know, it just... I guess the fact that we're even debating, like, the intent of what Danzig is like his motives just kind of like I think showcases that this band isn't serious at all. Like I just think that it's not well.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't like, I don't know. I can't remember the name of that
As
metal
everyone
band that
flounders.
like is. There's some metal band that's like closely associated with the American Neo-Nazi Party. I don't remember what they're called anymore. Um, but they used to like use their concerts as recruiting rallies to bring in young people, and it was really nasty and like manipulative. But that's not really
Who is
like,
it? Now I want to know like who this
I don't
is.
remember. It's been a long, long time ago. It was like American History X type stuff.
Yeah, that's weird.
Oh, how can we forget the wonderful song "Bullet," in which it combines the the shooting of President John F. Kennedy and uh, somebody getting masturbated by Jackie O.
I forgot about the lyrics to that song. But I think on some level, like the Misfits are just so shticky that you wonder if it's serious, and then you take one look at them like as people and as musicians with the devil locks and the ridiculous clothes and the zombie makeup, and you're like,
Hmm.
yeah, okay, this is kind of a joke.
Okay, so there's this scene in A Pervert's Guide to Ideology. I don't know. I know we talked about this on here before, like a couple seasons back. But he talks about how like Rammstein, yeah, I know
Mhm.
that you guys know who they are.
Yeah.
He talks about how they're like really good at like perverting the like I don't want to say like I'll just put it in like the it almost has like a kind of like militaristic nationalist feel to it when you watch their videos and stuff. Like it's really borderline like almost something that's like creepy and like propaganda-y and culty and like supremacist-y. But when you listen to their lyrics, it's like it's not that way at all. And so but they're able to like capitalize on that and like twist that in a certain way to make it like okay to do that. That's kind of what he I don't know, I don't want to misinterpret him and say that that's what it is there. But like I don't know, I feel like the Misfits are able to kind of capitalize on that too a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it's not maybe I just want to see this in a good light because I like it and I don't want to make myself sound like a bad
No, I
person
think
because
you're
I
right.
like it.
I don't think
But
they're
like,
glorifying violence. I think it's
but like they're able to
they've spent a
capitalize
lot of
on
time watching like old horror movies, and they want to show their appreciation for the genre and the power it has
right,
emotionally.
and you can capitalize on that by like integrating that into your own thing.
Yeah, I have to think that they probably spent as much time in dive bars watching black and white zombie movies as we did, or more. Probably more.
So I don't know, Tyler. What do you think about that?
I guess. It's just
Well, do you okay? So are you gonna start policing yourself now in terms of like the bands that you listen to? Like, are you gonna like not listen to them anymore and start paying a lot more attention to the lyrics of the bands that you listen to and say like I just don't like these guys because their lyrics aren't
I mean, I've always been
something that
trying to
says to
do
me.
that. It hasn't like really worked out very well. um I don't know. There's a reason why I only listen to Misfits like once once a year. um, I don't know. I would like to get. I hate to be like, oh, I better ask my girlfriend, but I want to see like what like the feminist stance on what um the feminist stance on the Misfits because I feel like we're missing that perspective. Like, well, how do you feel about these guys singing about the decapitation of your body? Does that sound appealing to you? Do you want to listen to that?
Think about it as a product of the time, though, which I know isn't a great argument, but the Misfits in their original incarnation with Danzig were active from like 78 to 80, and that was a time when the punk scene and particularly the beginnings of hardcore were very male dominated. Women just didn't go to shows. And a lot of that changed in the mid 80s, but I think part of it might just be that there weren't any women around for various reasons, because they were keeping them out and because there wasn't interest. And I don't know, I think Danzig kind of comes off in a lot of these songs as the nerdy guy who can't get a girlfriend, so he stays at home and watches horror movies. Maybe that's just me.
I just don't want to fall into I don't want to like fall into a rut and characterize Glenn Danzig and like the band members throughout the times as like being these really bad people, because some are unable to like they misinterpret the music that they make. And I just want to say, like, another example of this might be if you you guys have probably seen Fight Club, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of
Tyler has not seen Fight Club?
You haven't seen Fight Club?
I'm working on it, okay?
No. Then Taylor will understand what I'm saying. When you watch Fight Club, the first time that you watched it, it kind of like glorifies violence a little bit if you take it from the lens of just the surface. You know, like, they have this fight club, they go and they can't talk about it, there's all these rules, there's like a cult, they end up committing acts of violence and all this stuff. But when you get older, like, when I got older, I should say, like, and I rewatched it, I really started seeing, like, the nuances about how, like, you know, Fight Club is more, it seemed to be to me, a more of like a Freudian exploration of masculinity in the 21st century.
Which is definitely what the author of Fight Club intended.
Right, and not so much as like, you should make a Fight Club, blah, 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 you know what I mean? And that's what I don't want people to say, and I think, like, maybe this is Edward Norton could be put in this category, that Edward Norton would be like, you know, because he was in American History X too, that he would be some kind of neo-Nazi, or that he would be some kind of, like, someone who is prone to violent outbursts or something like that, just because he was in these movies and he chose to take these roles. Or that these directors condone this kind of behavior because they make a movie about that. Just like, so I don't know. I just think that you have to take that with a grain of salt. That, like, it's they're making a product.
Mm-hmm. Tyler just got up and left. Yeah, Catherine just tweeted us a link. Oh, okay.
There we go. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, Catherine just tweeted us a link to an article that says, "Can you be a feminist and listen to misogynist music? Women reflect on loving both Gloria Steinem and Eminem." I'm very excited to read that later.
Yeah, no, we should.
We'll put it in the show notes. But I think you bring an interesting point, Sean, of like, oh, hang on, another tweet from Catherine. "I stopped enjoying Baby It's Cold Outside because it was too liberal with the interpretation of no means no." Yeah, that song's pretty creepy. That song is a really interesting separate case, though, of like what happens with folk culture and when folk culture survives past the social norms that are acceptable. But anyway,
I mean, would you categorize Robin Thicke with the Misfits? Would you say that, like, what was that song that he was like?
Blurred Lines.
Yeah, Blurred Lines. Would you put that in the same category as Last Caress?
No.
I guess.
Without context, I would, but
I don't think I would. And I think the difference is that Misfits are knowingly campy, and I don't think Robin Thicke is that. Right? So, like, if you look at pictures of the guys in Misfits, they dress in ridiculous costumes, and they wear their hair weird, and they wear makeup. It's almost like Kiss in that way. Whereas Robin Thicke is dressed like he is always dressed, and is kind of behaving on stage like he normally would. It doesn't feel as much like an act or like a choreographed routine as the Misfits do. At least to me. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm just struggling to figure it out because the next thought that came to my head was, like, what if Robin Thicke didn't even write this piece? Like, it was just given to him, just because everyone. It's common practice now. Sorry, I'm gonna like expose Santa Claus here, that like pop stars don't write their own music. A lot of it is produced by producers, and then they buy the song or buy the rights or something. And part of me wonders, like if he wrote that song, if he didn't write that song, then it kind of gives him off the hook a little bit. Granted, I want to put him back on the hook by saying he did say yes to this song too. Like, I don't think there was anybody saying like, you don't have to do this. I'm not gonna let him off. But at the same time, if I vilify him for saying that, then I also feel like I need to, and a little bit vilify the Misfits for having a song like this.
Blurred Lines was written by, or is credited as being written by Robin Thicke, Pharrell, T.I., and Marvin Gaye, who is credited because of a sampling lawsuit.
All right,
Catherine, intellectual property lawsuit.
So Catherine couldn't tweet this. She says, for the record, just because something is a relic of a bygone era doesn't make it suddenly acceptable or okay. I don't have enough room to tweet that. Oh, whoops, I'm supposed to read that. Okay, so Baby It's Cold Outside is like not okay, the same way that blackface in cartoons aren't okay. Which I mean, that's...
It's an interesting point. I think it's important to acknowledge where we come from. I guess, like, I agree that these things aren't okay, but I think it's important to acknowledge the influence that they have. Because we can't just pretend that they don't exist, and obviously we're not doing that. But what's really important about the Misfits is kind of both the style of the music they were playing, the speed they were playing at, and like how they influenced the future of hardcore. But the stylistic like shtick of what they did is important in its own way, even if that resulted in them writing some really violent, awful lyrics. Would you guys agree with that?
I don't know. I gotta think on this one. Catherine makes a really valid point. I can't really say that I can like.
Yeah, I think she makes a valid point, but I think that whether good or bad, they influenced other acts to develop shticks around their whole creative output.
I mean, if you're asking if they're influential and that's important, then yes, you're right.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
with
no, I'm not asking the question. I'm just saying, like, they are influential, and so we have to treat them as such, even if we don't necessarily agree with parts of that influence. And that's what makes them really interesting to me, is that, like the music or not, they're still important.
That dog.
I feel like I just want to read this article that Catherine posted to us. So that's I don't know. I feel like I'm not able to answer this question because
It's got heavy, gentlemen.
That's right.
Way to go.
It's got heavy real quick.
We were just supposed to be having fun, talking about horror music, and then...
Well, let's wrap up by just circling back to where we started. We all, at least on some level, enjoy Misfits, and so I want to make sure that anybody who is interested in them based on what we've had to say, for the controversy or just for the punk, gets some good recommendations on how they should approach this band. So, what do you guys think? First-time listener, what should they go into this with? Where should they start? What should they be thinking about? What do you think?
Don't.
Really?
Yeah. If you come to it in a natural way, that's the way you should go.
Right.
But I don't really feel like I would tell anybody like this is the perfect way to go. Like, go right for Static Age because it's the quintessential one. I don't know. I feel like sorry guys. There's much better punk acts that are out there than the Misfits.
Wow.
And they have the kitschiness of the Misfits does get pretty old fairly quickly.
Sean, this playlist was pretty good. 10 minutes later, Don't listen to the Misfits.
No, it is. I feel you can say that. Like, I don't need to tell everybody to go read the same book. Like, you should go and find something that you like. If it comes to that and that's what you're gonna listen to, then that's the way it should be. You know, I happened to come to this band a few years ago, and I was ready to listen to music like this, and I was looking for new stuff to listen to. And
Just listen to Static Age. Just what Sean's trying to say is just listen to Static Age.
But no, like
literally ignore everything else.
When we were in high school, we listened to a lot of punk stuff, and like I didn't even know the Misfits were punk when I was in high school. I just knew that people had the weird shirts, and they were probably associated with somebody who would also wear an Insane Clown Posse shirt, which I wanted to like stay away from entirely. So, that said, I don't know. I guess it's then you should come to it if you want to listen to it.
Tyler, you say listen to Static Age.
Also, if you happen to like Ghost, the band, you would probably also like Famous Monsters, as I just started recently listening to the newest Ghost album, which is very good. Just try it out. I would listen to Famous Monsters. Otherwise, just listen to Static Age. It's like, duh.
I think Static Age exists as an interesting cultural document, and it's short. So if you don't like it, it's only 35 minutes out of your life.
Apparently.
I think it's a worthy listen. If you sat through 45 minutes of this podcast, you could probably sit through 35 minutes of that album. And then you can think whatever you want about the Misfits, and we probably won't talk about them again. So there you go.
Also, Collection 1, also pretty good. But just listen to Static Age.
Half the songs on the Collection 1 are on Static Age anyway, so...
That's right. But it does have Where Eagles Dare.
That's true.
Which
is a great song.
a song that you need to get on.
Where Eagles Dare is actually just a really great song. It's not all that violent, it's just generally a great song.
And also Horror Business, also a great song.
Yeah.
So those are the only reasons to get Collection 1.
If they could just put those as bonus tracks on a version of Static Age, that's what you really need.
Done. Right.
All right, well, our mini episode turned into 45 minutes, so I want to thank everybody who stuck around in the chat on Twitter and shared articles and generally was here. You guys got any shameless plugs real quick?
Watch Sean Doesn't Play.
Yeah, Sean does play video games live right after this or on YouTube. If you're listening to this on audio, just look up Sean Doesn't Play Video Games.
And check out all the other podcasts on the Wicked Podcast Network, because we have to plug them, and they got some good stuff on there, so check them out.
Yeah, for real. We're hopefully getting some of them to come hang out on our show, so you should go find some good ones and be like, hey, yo, you're really good, you should be on Dudes Brunch. Also, shouts out to everybody in the r/podcast community who have been really helpful in the last couple of weeks as we've been doing some changes to the show. They're great. Make sure you fill out the survey, link down in the doobly-doo, and we'll see you guys next week.
I'm going to publish my article this week, so check that out, kids.
Ooh, article.
So it's up on the blog now, but we haven't really publicized it because I'm waiting for us to get back in the full swing of things. So.
Well, there you go. New article from Sean on the blog. Season 4 starts next week.
Check it out.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.